Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Glow Live. Oh my goodness, I need your help. I should have titled this live, Help. My dog thinks he's the boss of me. But we'll get into that. For those of you who've had dogs and puppies, I'm going to be asking you for some advice and some help today because I've got a real character on my hands and I got to get him under control. But anyhow, before we go there, let me just say hello to everyone and greet you all. Hey, Sheila, Jess, Pups, and everyone. Hey, hi, Caroline. How's it going? Happy Saturday to you. It's a good day to be alive. Oh, my goodness. Everyone's saying hello. Hey, Kenneth, hello, hello. Nora, one of my great moderators, is in the house. Oh my goodness. Marta, another one, is here. Hi, Marta. Oh my goodness. Vaughn's a great, all my great moderators are in the house today. Oh my goodness. Everyone is saying hello, hello. Um, Everyone. Oh, thank you, Caroline, for bookmarking Nora's Etsy shop. That's very cool. Nora says, I can't believe how big Mowgli got. Look at that pic. I know. He's only 5 months old and he has more than doubled in size. And they're saying the size he is now, he's going to at least double again. Woo, boy. And he is, I'm telling you, a handful. Caroline says, you're welcome, Nora. And I do have my eye on a painting. Oh, that's great. That is great. The one that Avril, okay, it's the one that Avril, okay, a field of plants, okay, so I bet it's beautiful. Hey, Patty, how's it going in Muskogee land? Hello, hello, hello. Oh my goodness. Caroline says, sorry, I was doing two things at once on my iPad. I know I can't multitask. It's hard for me. Hey, CW Styles in the house. Hello, hello. I think I'm greeting everyone. Carla88, hello, hello. But anyhow, I want to ask how many of you have dogs currently or have been a dog owner? Because I want to ask you a few questions. This little fella, Mowgli, he's 5 months old, and actually, from the day he came into this house, he's been trying to rule the house. Let me just give you some examples. You saw the picture of him spread out. That's Cuddle's bed. But every chance he gets, I have beds for them outside and inside. Every chance he gets, he goes over and sneaks into Cuddle's bed. And you see how poor Cuddles, he gets in there and he turns around, then he stretches out and lays out, and Cuddles will be in there, but he'll move himself so that Cuddles has to back up to the back and sit up because he can't lay down because Mowgli will take over the space and spread out. So every time I catch him, I'm like, out. And he'll get up and reluctantly go out. He has his own bed, his own everything, but he always wants to go into Cuddles. And he especially wants to go in there if Cuddles in there, and he wants to move. And Cuddles won't defend himself. Cuddles will just either he'll sit up and sit there and he'll look at me. And I'm like, Cuddles, you gotta speak up, boy. You gotta speak up for yourself. Or then Cuddles will just give up and walk out of the crate and let him have it. And then he'll stretch out. And then if Cuddles walks out, he'll run. And then if Cuddles gets a ball, he'll run and he'll take the ball out of Cuddles. Will try and keep it from him, but he'll take the ball out of Cuddles' mouth and take off running. And then if I give Cuddles another ball, he'll go over and take that ball. He'll drop the ball he has, go over, take the second ball, and bring it to where the first one is. And then he won't let Cuddles have either one. Now, what I do is I make him wait. When I give them water, I'll make him wait until Cuddles drinks before I let him drink. And I'll make him wait until I feed Cuddles before I feed. So I'm trying to set the order of, I'm the leader of this pack. Cuddles is next. Well, Jessica is next. Then Cuddles. then him. He's the last ring on the totem pole, but he's determined that he's going to be the leader of this pack. And so I want to break his strong will without breaking his spirit. I want him to still be confident, but he's trying to dominate everyone in this household. Me, Jess, Cuddles. He's like, I'm in charge, and there's just so many examples, and I'm wondering if any of you have had dogs like that. What do you do? Thank you, Vaughn. Yes, don't forget, do a heads up. Yeah, anyone who has questions about any of Nora's paintings, she's got her email, norakeg123@gmail.com. So everyone, thank you, Vaughn. Yes, thumbs up. It really helps. Hey, Iris, 3 generations. Hello. I'm trying to see anyone else. Kenneth says, my dog is 7-year-old. She still owns the, oh my good. Vaughn said, dog mom all my life. Yes, he's very territorial, but he's territorial with everyone's territory. Now, the one good thing is, now he knows he's not supposed to eat out of Cuddles' food bowl. So he'll do what I call drive-bys. He'll run by, grab a mouthful, and keep on running because he knows if I catch him, he's in trouble. So he'll leave his food, go run, take a bite out of Cuddles, keep on running, and then circle back to his food. He just wants to dominate and show. And so Vaughn, I've never had a dog like this. My dogs have always been very kind of wanting to please. My Shepherd, my Cuddles. Well, you all know Cuddles. He's a lover boy. Every dog I've had has been a dog. Well, with the exception of Jojo, but Jojo was mentally ill, and he had clearly been abused. So that's a whole nother story. But I've had many dogs, and I've never had a dog like this one. I think I told you all when I scold him or tell him no, he goes woof. He barks back at me, and he doesn't like being told no, and because he knows that no means he can't do that. So he talks back to me, barks back at me, and so, and he knows how to sit, he knows how to down, he knows wait or stay. I use wait because that's the word for him to wait to drink. So I just use that for stay. But he'll only do them if he feels like it. If he feels like it, he'll sit. But if he doesn't, he'll look at me. I'll say, sit. He'll put his head the other way, like, I'm not sitting. I'll get in his ear, Mowgli, sit. And then finally, I'm like, I can stand here all day. We're not going anywhere till you sit. And finally, when he sees he can't do anything else, sometimes he'll say, he'll do a sigh, he'll go, and he'll sit. I tell you, I've never had a dog like this before. Yeah, he is territorial, but over everyone's. Sheila says he's the alpha boss and controls the situation. Good luck. I know he wants to be the alpha. And I've never seen a puppy this young. I got him when he was, 3 months? Let's see, January, February, March. I got him when he was 3 months old. And at 3 months, this is how he was. So I was in Tractor Supply earlier today, and there was a guy in there with a little bully puppy, and it was so cute. And she was just so sweet and so compliant, and she was 4 months, but she was about half Mowgli's size, and she was just, he had a litter, and he was saying how her disposition, and all of his dogs, he was saying their dispositions, because he has the grandparents, the parents, and he's found he was selling his dog, but he said this is the last one from that litter, but he's not going to have another litter, he said, for maybe a good year or so, because he wants his dog to recover. But he So I think I'm going to have to put Mowgli in. He's already in training. He's in training class. We go to training class, but I'm going to put him in a socialization. So maybe he can get with some other dogs who might be maybe a little more dominant, and he can learn maybe he's not the boss, because Cuddles is so just compliant. If he goes to eat Cuddles food and Cuddles there, Cuddle just stop walking and walk away. And I'm like, Cuddles, don't let him do that to you. Stand up for yourself. But Cuddles will just look at me like, do you see what he's doing, Mom? And I'm like, do I defit? I'm like, Cuddles, you got to man up here, or dog up, whatever. But oh goodness. So I don't know. Marta says, my sprouty boy has been in heaven 2.5 years. 1/2 Pom, half Chihuahua, 12 pounds, almost 14. He had canine dementia. Oh, I'd never seen a dog with canine dementia. Wow. Exactly. Take control. I don't know how to take control. I'm trying to take control. I mean, I don't let him get away with stuff, but he's very, very, very strong-willed. And whoo, goodness. Harvest Moon. Hey, Harvest Moon. How are you doing? Everyone's saying hello. I don't think I've seen you in here, Harvest Moon, before. Welcome, welcome. Hey, Graham says, back from our first cruise. How was it, Graham? We are longtime dog owners. Currently have an 8-year-old cane corso. Oh, I love cane corsos. If I was younger, I would have got a cane corso, but I just don't think I can. Those are powerful, powerful dogs, and you really, really. I just don't. I think at my age, and you have a 10-week-old Moxie, both bitches, both black and both loved. Well, is either one of them bossy? 3 generations, says Poppy. Hey, Sylvie. Hello, hello. Sheila says, Carol, that's never going to happen. He needs a trainer, which I know you have one. Yeah, I do have one. You may have to change your animal trainer. Just dogs that have been abused or adopted from shelter. No, he's not. He's never been abused, and he's not adopted from a shelter. He was in a personal private home, but they did tell me that he had started. There was only 2 puppies in the litter that he came in, and he had started to kind of boss the other dog around and knock the other dog away when it was time to eat. So he was starting to, at even a month, he was starting to be. He just wanted to be dominant. So, hey, Bust a Move, hello, hello. Yeah, Sheila, he's strong-willed. He's the alpha. Well, no, I'm the alpha. I'm the alpha in this house, and that's what I'm trying to figure out how to assert that myself. Who thought I'd have to be asserting it over a dog? Hey, Harvest Moon. Yes. Harvest Moon says you'll need to stay very consistent with everything so there's no leeway. Yeah, I've been really working on that, on not letting him get away with anything. But he, like I said, he will run to the other side of the yard now and bark at me when I tell him no, so that he's not within reach of me snatching him, grabbing his collar and scolding him. So he runs to the other side and barks whenever I tell him no. So, yeah. And he constantly, he'll take he'll take Cuddles' toy, and then he'll run back and forth in front of Cuddles with the toy. Like, look, I got your toy. Look, I got your toy. And he wants Cuddles to chase him. And Cuddles won't. And if Cuddles refuses to chase him, he'll go up and nip at Cuddles' leg and then start running around Cuddles. And he'll do that 2 or 3 times. And then Cuddles gets tired and will start chasing him. And then he's like in 7th heaven. Yeah, I got him to chase me. I got him to chase me. So I'm really having to work hard at, Cuddles is not going to change his disposition. He's going to be a go along to get along kind of dog. And that's the kind of dog that this kind of dog will absolutely take advantage of. But oh my goodness. Whoo. It may be the breed, but you know, his mother is in the house where he came out of, and the mother is very compliant, sweet. She's not like this at all. She's very playful, but she's not like this. She's very affectionate, very he's very, you know, very and if people come up, he's very like, hey, this is my spot, get away. So I don't know if it's the breed, it's just his personality, you know. uh, uh um Chief Paul, yeah, a real prima donna who needs to learn how to sing the chorus. Yeah, yeah, I'm working on it, so we'll see. We will see. But he's going to do what he wants when he wants, and I'm trying to, you know, and treats work. Here's what and if I leave him in his, you know, if I leave him in the room alone and close the door, he starts barking his full head off. And you know, like I put him in his crate at night. As long as I crate him at night, but I'm in the same room with him with the crate. But if I get up to go to the bathroom, he starts barking his full head off. And I tried squirting him. Someone said, I don't know if this is right or not, but I tried getting a little water bottle and squirt him when he would go off and off. And first couple times he didn't like it. He was like, oh. But by about the third time he just closed his eyes and opened his mouth like, when I brought the water bottle out, he closed his eyes, opened his mouth like, okay, just squirted in my mouth. I was like, what? I couldn't believe he did that. I mean, yeah. He was like, well, she's going to squirt me. I'm going to close my eyes so it doesn't go in my eyes. I'm going to open my mouth. I was like, oh my goodness. I'm being outsmarted by a 5-month-old puppy. Graham says a Moxie is a Maltese sausage dog cross. Oh, okay. I think hairy sausage dog with a beard. I still haven't given up on the idea of putting a poodle across the Mastiff. Oh my goodness, to make Mastiff doodles. Well, I've seen some sheepadoodles, and I tell you, they are beautiful, beautiful dogs. But these golden doodles, I think anything with a poodle has the potential to be strong-willed. Goldens are usually kind of just goofy, you know, fun dogs. But poodles, and I don't know if you remember Kat, the lady that used to live in her trailer on the streets in Oceanside. Well, she was a trainer for golden retrievers, and she's raised them for years and years. And she said the problem with golden doodles is you never know how much of a golden retriever you're going to get and how much of the poodle. And she said, and if you get a poodle, more poodle than golden retriever, she said, you're going to have a challenge. And that's what he apparently is, more poodle than golden retriever. So we'll see. Oh, thank you, Bussa Move. Thank you for that super chat. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Thank you. I appreciate that. That goes into the fund to help people in need. And I have been using up that fund for sure. Yeah. Hey, Ma Garden Oasis. Good afternoon to you. Patty says, I love Lone Star dog trainer. I had plans to take Dougie there, but plans derailed by caring for parents. A little expensive, but worth it. Lone Star dog trainer. Let me, where's my phone? Lone Star dog trainer. Where did I put my phone? I don't see it. Can you email me that, Patty? Email me that Lone Star dog trainer. I want him to be a service dog because I want to be able to bring him everywhere too. But Cuddles really is the perfect personality for a service dog. But at 10 years old, I don't know if it makes sense to get him trained now as a service dog and put all of that expense in it, because he's kind of going downhill little by little by little. I don't know. I'll just have to see. But if you would email that to me, Patty, I would really, really appreciate that. So Sheila said, no, it's not the breed. It's just the personality. Well, the trainer says that she thinks he's a good dog. He's very smart. He catches on quickly. But, she's about, constantly rewarding with treats. Anytime he does anything good, reward him, reward him, reward him. Well, I don't know. He's more, even when you reward him, if you tell him to do something and he knows there's a treat, if he doesn't want to do it, he's not going to do it, even for the treat. And he's very food oriented. I mean, I've never seen a dog so food oriented. But even if there's a treat involved, if he doesn't feel like doing it, he's not going to do it. He's just that stubborn. So, hey, Liza, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Hey, Manchi 3X, hello, hello. Vaughn says, I have had 3 to 4 basset hounds. Only one was aggressive. That was interesting. So did they all come from the same female and male, same parents, or were they different parents? But his father, he kind of has a personality like his father, not like his mother. So we'll see. Hey, Stella. Hello, hello. Carla says, I had to crate mine. I did it for a while until you establish a routine. Yeah, I'm working on that. But when I do crate him, even in the daytime, because outside, I have them in a crate outside, but it's two big, very large crates, and they're side by side. So when they're side by side, he doesn't bark. He's okay. But I can't leave them outside unattended now. I'd always used to leave Cuddles outside because he wanted to go outside and just lay in the sun or go sit in the shade. He liked being outside during the day. Well, I can't do that anymore because a few weeks back, there was a coyote sitting on my back fence, sitting on top of the back fence. My neighbor told me he was just sitting there kind of watching. So I can't leave them outside unless they're crated, unless I'm out there, because I just can't take a chance. Even Cuddles wouldn't be able to fight off a coyote, and Mowgli certainly wouldn't be able to. So now, that makes it really hard, because before they could play outside, and I couldn't leave Mowgli out there unattended because he'd boss Cuddles around, but I could leave Cuddles and Cuddles could get a little break from him. But we'll see. But Kenneth says, I'm smiling. I went through some of the same stuff you were going through when I first got Spirit. So what did you do? How did you cope, and how did you deal with it, Kenneth? Graham says the cruise was okay. The bride absolutely loved it. No cleaning or cooking. I couldn't stay away from the roulette table under strict adult supervision. I did all right, so no new scares. So it sounds like your bride had more fun than you did, Graham, on the cruise. Huh. So thank you again, Busamoo, for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Ma Garden Oasis says, when I adopted my 4-month-old German Shepherd, those are perfect dogs. They're just, to me, the perfect dog. I had to learn to be alpha, stand your ground, go first, and be consistent. In 1 week, potty trained and knew his crate when I say nap time or night. He knows his crate. He knows he's still not potty trained. He does whatever he wants, where he wants. But he does follow Cuddles outside, and where Cuddles goes, now what he will do is he'll go with he harasses Cuddles constantly, but if Cuddles will lay down, he'll kind of walk around and walk back and forth, and finally when he realizes Cuddles is down and laying down, he'll just go and lay down next to Cuddles. Or if Cuddles is using the bathroom, he'll just stand next to Cuddles and wait for him to finish, and then you'll start harassing him again. Oh, goodness. Sylvie says, my friend had a Bouvier enormous laid back dog. Oh, my goodness. Well, he's not laid back, that's sure. Liza said, like, subscribe, share. Thank you, Liza. I appreciate that. It is a nice community here, Liza. It really is. Manchi X says, no, at 10 years old, it doesn't make sense to make him a service dog, especially given you said he's starting to go down little by little. Yeah, so it really doesn't make any sense. So he says, sometimes if you make them a star and fuss over them, they do something right. It softens them up. Like if he stays quiet, make a manageable, I do, a more memorable love moment. I do. I make a big deal of when he was really good. And he's just like, whatever. When he pees outside, when he does anything, when he waits for Cuddles to drink first, I'm like, good boy. Sometimes I'll treat him. I'll make such a big deal out of it. He's like, Extreme praise doesn't seem to make a dent. Extreme scolding doesn't make a dent. It makes him just bark at me. But it both kind of rubs off. He's like he dances to his own tune. But anyhow, enough about that. So Sylvie says you might try using a different word than no so you can retrain his reaction. Maybe say stop. Yeah, I do sometimes say stop, and he has the same reaction to stop. So stop, no. Now he's kind of okay with wait, because wait means he's going to get something, but he just has to wait. He can't get it right then. So he doesn't bark at wait. But no and stop, he's like telling me, I don't like that. But Kenny says, true, time. Spirit destroyed 2 couches. Oh, I can trust her with everything now. How long did it take, Kenneth? When you say time, how long? Graham says, medical appointments next week. A cancer professor for the Polyvera. If still okay, we'll pack and go to, for a moment, it's a charity event raising money for children. A cancer professor? Okay, well, I just hope everything turns out. If it sounds like you're having an evaluation, hope everything turns out, Graham, and that it's a good report. Manchi says, Carol, for training, you're lucky to have him be food focused. Yes, that was how he learned sit and down. I mean, instantly. Within 2 times, he was sitting and he was down. But now he'll do it when he feels like it. But he knows the commands. So, yeah. Vaughn says, I've noticed some of my dogs have same medical issues as me. Interesting. That's kind of like some people have dogs, and after a while, the dogs and them look alike. Oh, my goodness. Hey, Susie. Hi, how are you? Oh, my goodness. Well, I'll tell you the other thing I wanted to talk about today, and I am doing a video. I am going to do a video on this. I just haven't done it yet. I wanted to talk to you about Social Security. And I wanted to talk to you about some things. I'm going to go into more detail. But every year, there is an evaluation of the Social Security. Excuse me, let me move this. There's an evaluation of the Social Security Trust Fund, or whatever it's called, the pot that all the money's in. And they evaluate how long at the current withdrawals it can be sustained. And last year they had a date, but this year my understanding is that date has been pulled in a year, and it's now 2032 that they're saying, unless Congress takes action, that they're going to have some serious problems. And serious problems mean means that they will be reducing people's benefits. Now, what I have, based on the research that I've done, what they're proposing is unless some action is taken, they're going to be required to reduce benefits by, I think it was 24%. So the average reduction, they said, in benefits would be around $500 per average. But if you're, if you bring in $1,000 a month, that means you'd have a deduction of I think it's $240, which means you would, instead of receiving $1,000, you get $760 a month. So there are three things that they say Congress would be the one that has to take action. There's three things that Congress can do, and I'll state those in a few minutes. But the thing that really, or one of the things that really bothers and disturbs me, is that there are people who have been wanting for a long time to eliminate so-called entitlement programs. And it really chaps my hide that they call Social Security an entitlement program, and they lump it together with food stamps and Section 8 housing and some other things. Social Security, if you're receiving Social Security, you have paid into it, and your employer has paid into it. So it's not like they're giving you something that you haven't contributed towards. You've contributed towards it. Your employer has contributed towards it. So for them to call it an entitlement is a misnomer, and that really bothers me. But there are a group of people, and this is not just currently, this has been for decades. There have been a group of people who've been eyeing Medicare, Medicaid, Section 8, and Social Security, any programs that help people. They've been lumping them all together as entitlement, and they've been really looking to attack those. And there have been, I think I did a video a while back on some of the changes in Medicare and how they're making it so much harder, especially if you're on Medicare Advantage, to get certain things approved. Well, people are saying, well, what can we do? What can we do? There are some things that we can do to help ourselves. And there are three ways that they're proposing that Congress could help the fund. And because right now, with the onslaught of baby boomers pulling funds out of Social Security, there's more people and more money being pulled out than is being put in, is based on my research. So, and that's really obviously depleting the fund at a more rapid rate than has happened in the past. So there are three things that Congress can do. One is increase the age that people can collect full benefits at, which from my research still won't totally fix things. They can decrease the benefits by 24%. That's one of the things on the table. Or, and this is the one that really I believe needs to happen, they can reduce the cap on Social Security, meaning at, I think it's $184,000. Once a person earns $184,000, anything over that, so if they make $5 million a year, 10 million, whatever, 400,000, 300,000, anything over 184,000, they don't take Social Security out of. If they would start taking Social Security out of the entirety of everyone's income, that would completely fix the problem based on the research I've done. That would eliminate the need for increasing the age. It would eliminate the need for reducing benefits. Because if you're already receiving only, say, $600 a month, and you take almost $150 away, or say it'll be 60, 120, $150 away, that means you'd be getting $450 a month. And there are people who only get 600, 800, something like that. There are a lot of people. The average for a woman, I think, is $1,200. So if they took 24% of $1,200, that would be what? 220, 30, 248, 58, 68, 78, 88. That would be about, what, $300? No. Anyhow, it would be over $250, maybe 270. I don't know. I have to figure it out in my head. But taking that away from $1,000 or 12, that's like crazy. Or from even $1,200. People can barely make it now. And I believe I'd have to look at my notes, but I believe at least 40% of people who collect Social Security, that's their sole source of income. So, to what can be done? What people need to do is we need to form coalitions where in every single community, every single congressman needs to be, we need to have a way to contact them and let them know, if you vote to reduce Social Security, you will not be reelected. People don't realize the power of the ballot and the power of your vote when it's lumped together with others. And I wish seniors would understand that, and we as a group would coalesce together and use our voices and our power. Because if across the country, seniors would reach out to all of their Congress people and say, this is what needs to be done. People who are making 184,000 and above need to be paying their percentage, their full percentage of Social Security taxes. That's what needs to be the push. But I don't hear anyone talking about people getting together. And it needs to be done now before a decision is made. They need to know that voting the wrong way will cost them the election. That's just what I think. What do you all think? I just wanted to bring this up because so many of you on here would be severely, severely negatively impacted if Social Security was reduced by 24%. Meanwhile, just one more comment, a few more comments about the dog. Ma Garden Oasis said, my German Shepherd is Leo, and I use hand gestures too. Yeah, I do use hand gestures. Yeah. Fred says, currently helping a friend from Ukraine get her Medicare and Social Security. She is also going through a divorce. Russian is not understandable from this West Texan accent. No, that would be. Sylvie says, how can they call it an entitlement program when I paid out of my paycheck and out of my profits when self-employed? That's what really, really, really ticks me off, that there is a belief by many people, if they say a lie enough times, that it becomes the narrative. And if there's no pushback, then that is the accepted narrative. Because how many times have you heard people refer to Social Security as an entitlement program? And that's what, every time that is said, people need to push back. No, we paid into this. And how many people have paid into it and then pass before they even are able to collect, or collect for a short time and never get to? So it's not an entitlement program. And that really, really ticks me off. Marta says, Mike Johnson keeps saying that we paid into it, it infuriates me. We did pay into it. Sylvie says, I agree they should raise the cap and it would cause the least pain to people paying it. Yeah. I mean, if you're making 5 million or if you're making $300,000 a year, paying from 184 to 300 is not going to impact you nearly as much as it's going to impact someone who's bringing in $1,000 a month in Social Security who loses 24% of their check. I mean, let's just compare, the difference in impact. It's astronomical. So, I mean, it just, but again, I saw someone recently who said we have a system that oftentimes wealthy people are able to gain wealth on the backs of impoverished people. And so often that is the case. And that is also the case with Social Security. Maybe not them gaining their wealth, but keeping more of it at the expense of people who are paying 100% of their Social Security debt versus someone who's paying maybe a third or less. Um, Sylvie says, my congressman couldn't care less. He's retiring next year. But someone else is going to be running. He's retiring, but someone else is going to be running for that office. And that person running needs to know if they are not on the right side of this, they will not get elected. And if they lie and say they will support raising the cap and then they don't, they will need to know that they will be booted out at the next election. People, we really, really, really need to start exercising the power of the vote to protect us and to protect the things that make a difference. Kenneth says, thank you. You are right. The vote has power. Yes, yes. And I wish people would understand if you get a group of people, I've seen it in action at local election level. When I was going to city council meetings, me and Jessica, carrying our picket signs to get a safe parking lot, I saw there was a measure that the city council had approved. They had approved it. It was going to go into law. At the next city council meeting after that was approved, a huge, huge contingency of voters from the district from the city came in, and they flooded that auditorium, flooded it. And at that very meeting, those city council meeting members reversed that decision. So when they see that voters are going to hold them accountable to something, it will change. It will change minds. It won't necessarily change hearts, but it'll change minds for people who want to stay in office. Vaughn said, in the past, only property owners were allowed to vote. I'm glad that changed. Oh, yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy. So only a property owner is a citizen or should have a say in what happens in this country. I wonder who came up with that crazy rule or law. But then again, women couldn't vote either, our black folks or many people couldn't vote. So Manchi 3X says, yeah, 184 for a cap is ridiculous for these times. Yes, it is. It really is. Because a lot of people, believe it or not, a lot of people are coming out of school, especially in Silicon Valley. They're coming out of school, going in, getting 120,000, and I'm seeing all of the time homes in the $1 million range that go on the market and they're in escrow in 60 days. So you're not buying $1 million, a $2 million home on $184,000. So, and I'm not saying that people shouldn't be able to buy multi-million-dollar homes. They should. If you work hard, you should get rewarded. But it's only fair that if someone who's bringing in $1,000 a month had to pay 100% of their Social Security, someone making $500,000 a year, not a month, a year, should also have to pay their full amount. Someone who's bringing in $1,000 a month on Social Security, who when they were working, that means they weren't making that much, but they were paying their full Social Security. That person who's making 300, 400, 500, a million more, they should pay it too. Marta says, all my utilities have gone up, so I'll be working part-time until I die. Marta, you are not alone. There are a lot. I really should do a story on this. What percentage of people 65 and older will likely be working the rest of their life? And I think we'd be shocked if we knew the numbers and the percentages. And it's steadily going up. Freddie says, hi, Freddie. If they can find money to police our allies, they can find money to prop up Social Security, surely. I'm not even going to get into that because there's so many things that money is being spent on. You know, this Iran war, how many billions of dollars, how much, if that money went into Social Security, I wonder what the impact would be and how much of that would benefit. I'm not even going to, yeah, that'll just piss me off even more, excuse my language. Hey, dogs. Dogs are the best friends. Well, you can tell I love dogs, so I get it. Yeah, I can tell. Oh, my goodness. Hey, Neezy. Hello from sunny Los Angeles. Yes, you all. Be careful out there. I was reading how many places have heat alerts. Washington State, Oregon, parts of California, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. So many places have heat alerts out this weekend. So you guys stay hydrated. Don't overdo it because a heat stroke can come on you just like that and you don't even realize it until it's too late. Manshi3X says, we rate dogs is a great channel if you're a dog lover. Okay, I will watch that. Thank you. Marty says, Johnson keeps calling it an entitlement. It's not. No, Social Security is not an entitlement. But again, there are people who have a strategy. It's like if I keep telling people that this person is deranged, if I say it enough, people will start believing it. So they believe if they say something enough, it'll change the narrative. And we have to fight against false narratives. And Social Security being called an entitlement program is absolutely a false narrative. Nora says the system is built to keep lower earners down. It is a class system in disguise of free enterprise. I have to agree, Nora. It really is. The system is set up to keep people who are on welfare, to penalize people who are on welfare who try to earn some money to climb up out of the hole they're in if they're in a bad spot. So instead of having it so as you gradually get more money, if you go $1 over a limit, you're cut off altogether. So I know several people who are on government entitlement programs, and they will be on them the rest of their lives because they can't afford to pay the rent. And if they go out and earn $1 more. I remember I had a friend who I kept saying, well, why don't you get a part-time job so you can, won't be in such a bind? And she told me, she said, if I earn $9 more a month, I will lose my Medicaid. And she said, I have serious medical conditions. I can't afford to not have Medicaid. So she was stuck staying at a low income in order to get her Medicaid. And that is just wrong. There are single parents and even families who are stuck. If they earn a few more dollars, they lose their subsidized child care. So then they can't go to work or they lose their housing. I mean, it's set up, it really is set up like a trap. Once you get involved in some of these things, they have like a clamp around your ankles and your arms so that you're stuck and they want to keep you there. And the only reason I can think that it is like that is because so many people are making so much money off of these programs that they don't want them to go away. So they want to keep people in these programs so that the people who are making money and getting rich off them continue to do so. Like you say, Nora, it is set up to keep people impoverished so that other people can benefit from their poverty. Sylvie says, yes, Kenneth, 3090, I agree. The vote is all we have left. Yes, and things are being done to change that so that the vote is diluted and making it harder to vote. And I mean, there was one thing where I forget where it was. Was it in Georgia? Somewhere where they had it. If it was burning, blazing hot out, blazing hot. And so people were standing in line for hours in order to vote. And some of them were getting, impacted by the sun. So people were coming along, giving them bottles of cold water just to help sustain them so they could vote. They outlawed that. So they could not give them water while they were in line. Now, tell me, what is the reason for doing that? The reason is so that people will be discouraged and get out of line and not vote. That's despicable, absolutely despicable. But there's all these underhanded things that are being done to discourage people from voting and holding these politicians accountable, regardless which side of the aisle they're on, Nora says, wealthy people want it this way. People in power want it this way. Well, I think many, many do. I know if I was very, very wealthy, I would be willing to pay my fair share because my feeling is I have enough. So if I'm paying more, it's not, I mean, after you're at a certain point, you can't buy better food. You're already buying the best. Your kids are already going to great schools. You already live in a great neighborhood. I mean, I guess I just don't understand greed that is designed to keep other people from benefiting and from getting ahead. I don't understand that, but maybe it's how I was raised. And, I grew up poor, so I have never forgotten that. I've never forgotten what it feels like. So I guess I have an empathy and an understanding for people who are struggling to get out of that, But Vaughn says, I don't trust who is counting the votes. That's a whole other situation. Oh, I think it's only going to get worse, Vaughn. I think it's only going to get worse, quite honestly. Hey, Jackie, I'm in Ventura for a Bike the Coast, 20 miles. That's great. I'm glad to hear you're having a great day biking the coast, Jackie. That's good to hear. Nora says, Sylvie, I'm not so sure that they're afraid at all. They have contempt for the average person and laugh at us behind their doors. Yeah, a lot of people do. A lot of people do have contempt for a lot of people who are very wealthy, believe that poverty is a character flaw versus a circumstance, a condition or a circumstance. And poverty is often not a character flaw, it's a circumstance that people can't escape from. But people look at sometimes, individuals who are impoverished or homeless and they think, well, there's something wrong with them or they wouldn't be in that situation. No, often that's not the case. There were circumstances that just bombarded them, and any person, no matter what their character is, that was in those same circumstances would end up in the same situation. A lot of people don't have a village to help them. A lot of people don't have, much of the wealth in this country is inherited wealth. So once that wealth starts building and there's generational wealth, it's not so much what people have done, it's the family they're born into, the situation they were born into. And as long as they don't screw it up and do dumb stuff, they're going to continue to benefit from the generations that came before them. That has nothing to do with their character. It's just their luck of the draw, Nora says, that's my take on it. And I've felt this way for many years. I understand. Definitely, Nora. Sylvie says, Nora, that's probably true. And they don't care if that person only getting $1,000 in retirement was a lifelong servant to them and their friends. No, look at the person that I interviewed all those years back. For 10 years was the nanny. And then when their kids got older, they booted her out the door with not so much as a severance, nothing. Just booted her out the door, and she was living in her car at 83. I mean, come on now. Someone is taking care of your children for 10 years so that you and your spouse can go out and build wealth. And you are able to trust your three children with them to get your children up, to get them to school. And you could go and work and build your wealth with the peace of mind, knowing that someone is looking after your kids and that they're safe. And then when you no longer need them, you discard them like yesterday's garbage. That was just despicable to me, just absolutely despicable. But that's how some people are. Nisi says it's hot. Yes, it is hot in California, in parts of California. There is a heat advisory, a absolute heat advisory. So be careful, you guys. Nora says, guaranteed they don't care, Sylvie. They got what they wanted, so they don't give a hoot about anyone else. Greed and afraid to share the cookie. Well, what people don't understand is sometimes the more you give out, the more comes back. But they don't understand that. Caroline says 91 degrees here in West Texas as we speak. My brother Donald was telling me it was like 100 degrees where he is in North Carolina. 100 degrees. I remember a July, I think it was July or August, that I was in North Carolina and I was sick as a dog. Between the heat and humidity, I could barely wait to get on a plane and get home. I thought I was sick as a dog. My blood pressure went sky high. So that taught me a lesson about going there in the summer. Vaughn says, no, Nisi, yes, it's 97 degrees by Pasadena today. Yuck. It's 97 degrees, but I bet you the heat factor is more like 105 or 110. So it's 97 degrees on the thermometer, but I bet it feels more like 110. Oh my goodness. But there's no climate change. No climate change. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Your world traveler says, you're right, Carol. If only we can recover the billions that were taken from phony daycare centers and nursing homes and put into Social Security. If only we could recover all the fraud that has gone on in terms of if people knew what went on during COVID, oh my gosh. I mean, literally billions of dollars went out that there is no accounting for. People were saying they were doing 500 dinners a day in a little kitchen in their apartment that they could barely do 20. I mean, it was just, and I don't understand. There just was no accountability. All of that money, you know. But uh hey Karen, Karen says it's the same way up in Canada too. I think it's the same way everywhere, Karen. You know, I think, it's the same way everything. They say power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Well, absolute wealth can corrupt also. I'm not saying Jeff Bezos is crooked. I'm not going to say that because, first of all, I don't want to get sued. But I just look at how many billions of dollars he reportedly made during COVID. And how can you, in good conscience, after you make that much money based on the back of your employees, how can you then turn around and have layoffs? Why can't you ride it through with them? Why? I mean, if people have made you billions of dollars, why can't you take some losses to keep these people who help you get where you are? And then he had that wedding in Venice. I mean, I don't know how many millions of dollars was spent on that, but you know, I wonder how many people he could have kept employed that he laid off with the amount of money that he spent on his wedding in Venice. Just goes to priorities. It speaks to priorities. Um, uh, Vaughn says, gotta go. See you next time. Yeah, I've got to go too, Vaughn, but I just wanted to bring that up about Social Security and how I just wish people would start organizing to get ready, not wait until 2030 or 2031 when things are put into play that will reduce our Social Security, but start doing it now and holding these suckers accountable now and letting them know we need to start organizing now, not waiting till it's on the verge of happening when it's too late. Silly says, yes, in Florida, it is legal to give someone water when they're in a voting line. Explain to me what the reasoning is behind that, because I don't understand the reasoning behind that. I know the reasoning behind giving people water so that they'll be able to stay in line and vote. But explain to me, if you don't say a word to them, if you don't say, well, they're not going up and saying, well, vote for this person, vote for that person. If you're not carrying a banner saying I'm representing this person or I'm voting for this, is you do nothing but walk up and say, would you like a water? And that's it. You move, you don't say anything else. Would you like a water? Would you like a water? Would you like a water? Why would that be made illegal unless you definitely want to keep people from voting? It's disgraceful. It's absolutely disgraceful. Yeah, I didn't know it was in Florida too, Sylvie, but I think it was in Georgia where they did that. Nora says, Carol, for wealthy people, it's never enough. That is true. There are some things that will never be enough. And for a greedy, wealthy person, there's never enough money. I don't care if you've got $1 billion, you want 2. If you have 2, you want 10. If you have 10, you want 100. They're just, they say Elon Musk is on the verge of becoming a trillionaire. I'm not even going to comment on that. Hi, Mahmoud. How are you? From Tunisia. Oh, my goodness. I think you're the person that's the furthest away in this live, but welcome, welcome. Three Generations says, thank you for understanding the trap, Carol. I have a hard time getting people to understand that I can't make just a few extra dollars to help get by. I have to cover food stamps and health care. It is a trap. It is a trap. But so many people don't have a choice, and then they get into this trap and then they're stuck. It's you can't tell me that it's not intended to keep people entrapped and enslaved once they get involved in the system. It's clearly set up. It's clearly set up to do that. Oh my goodness. Yep, 3 generations. It absolutely is. Sylvie says, you are a Jim Carroll. Many people who come out of poverty want to do nothing and have nothing to do with poor people. I always look at people who are on the streets and say, but for the grace of God, there go I. That's my attitude. But for some tweaks that happened along the way, people that came into my life, examples that were set in front of me, but for the grace of God, that would be me. And anyone who doesn't realize that is a foolish person. Yeah, I've met people who were very poor and now are very affluent, and they have nothing but disdain for poor. Well, I did it, so they should. No, not necessarily, because your circumstances and most of these people will tell you they did it all by themselves and they are self-made. But when you peel back the layers, you will find that along the way, there were people who opened doors for them, who gave them opportunities, who did things that made their current success possible. I don't believe there's anyone who's totally self-made, that they didn't have some lucky breaks. Now, granted, there needs to be preparation so you can take advantage of those breaks. But there's no one, in my opinion, who didn't have someone along the way who opened a door and let them through, whether maybe it was just one door, but it was the door that they needed. But oftentimes you will find people who won't acknowledge that. They want you to believe they did it all by themselves, and that's disgusting to me. Sylvie says, I would say that generational wealth is the real entitlement. Yes. Isn't that something? Yes, yes, yes. Mahmoud says, the American dream is getting harder to reach. It absolutely is. The American dream is turning into a nightmare for many people. The American nightmare is really the narrative for so many people now. You know, I've met people from other countries who come here and say, wow, it is so hard to get ahead here, you know, in many ways. But yeah, the American dream is becoming much harder to reach. Nora says, Mahmoud, the American dream was only attainable for the generation that gave birth to us baby boomers. Veterans in the 40s and 50s were able to attain the dream. Well, I think the dream is still possible, but I think it takes a lot more people opening doors and greasing the wheels for a person to slide into that dream. You know, and it's not, I mean, it takes, you look at what people have to earn now relative to the cost of housing in order to buy. The average age now that people buy their first home is in the 40s. It hit 40s, and that's a new high. But it used to be in the 20s. But now the average person buying their first home is in their 40s. Isn't that crazy? That is really crazy. Yep, yep, yep. Nancy says, I worked for a religious organization. I won't say which one. They did not pay into the unemployment or disability funds because they didn't have to. That means if you got laid off, you were SOL. Yeah. My employer, I worked for a county agency. Somehow years ago, I think they took a vote or something, which was the dumbest thing ever. and they didn't pay into Social Security. Fortunately, I had worked many years before I took that job that I retired from, and so I did get some Social Security. But yeah, I really would have. I don't know if I could have paid into Social Security. I don't know. I never checked into it. I just was told they don't pay, so I didn't. Maybe I should have checked into it. I don't know. But I wasn't self-employed, so I don't think I could have, because my employer wouldn't have matched me if the system was not set up that way. But yeah, some agencies, county agencies, decided not to pay into Social Security. So their employees, if they don't stay and get a retirement, they're really screwed. You could work 15, 10 years, whatever, how long, and not get a substantial retirement or whatever, and have no Social Security. If that was the only job you worked and you got, let's say you became disabled, you worked that job, you didn't have Social Security, you became disabled before you're screwed. You're absolutely screwed. But anyhow, Nancy says, I had a coworker who got laid off. She was there around 5 years and she got 1 month severance pay. There is a practice among a lot of employers to let people get very, very close to qualifying for retirement and then laying them off shortly before they qualify. It's disgusting, but I know several people who that happened to, and they tried to fight it, but they were unsuccessful. And they, after being with the company maybe 15 years or so, having that, they had, yeah, they did not get their retirement. So there are so many dirty tricks that corporations pull on people, you know. Nora says, Bezos and people like him don't look at the employee as anything but a means to an end, useful until they're not. You know, I don't see how these people do not understand that but for those employees, you would not be where you are. I have to believe, in order to maintain my sanity, I have to believe that there's got to be some form of karma in the end. If not, if at least when they go to meet their maker, somewhere along the way, there's got to be some karma. Sylvie says, laughing out loud, whenever I got laid off, I was just told to go home. No unemployment either. How did you not get unemployment if you got laid off? Unless you were only there for a very short time. Because now I did have a employer who tried to deny me unemployment because I quit. I quit because we had a contract, and came time for them to honor their contract, and they refused to honor it. So I quit because they did not do what they were supposed to do. And I took a lesser salary to take on a management job, and I worked Saturdays, overtime, 4 hours every, running a shift for a year. And then come time for them to do what they're supposed to do, I quit. I said, screw this, and I quit. Well, they tried to not give me unemployment, and I appealed it, and they lost, and they had to give me they had to pay unemployment. But yeah, they'll try and screw over you and then not pay what they're supposed to. Nora says, Republicans push for prohibiting water in disenfranchised areas where people of color live. I saw that, Nora. I saw that. Like I said, I just have to maintain my sanity. I have to just keep believing we serve a just God, and he sees what's happening. And at some point, he's got to intervene. He has to intervene and say enough is enough. Yeah, Karen, no one can take it when they die, but they can leave it to their kids, and that's what they want to do, many of them. Rose said, Carol, have you heard from Lindy? Yes, I talked to Lindy, was it Tuesday? Monday or Tuesday of last week, and she's working on trying to figure out. And as I had guessed well, I was speculating before I spoke with her. I was speculating that that someone who took over her channel had done something improper, and that's why she was banned from YouTube. And in fact, she confirmed that that's exactly what happened. They did something, and she didn't have, and she needs to access her Gmail to get her channel back, but she can't access her Gmail because when they took over her channel, they also took over her Gmail. So, but she is working behind the scenes to try and get her channel back because it really is critical for her financially. You know, that amount that she was making really made the difference for her financially, especially with the cost of gas going up and everything. So she's having to really tighten her belt, which was already very, very tight. So, yeah. So if you guys, she has a, you know what? Next week I will share her. If anyone knows Lindy's, Cash App, share it, but I don't know it, but I will see if I can't get it if anyone wants to go over and give her a helping hand. But yeah, that's exactly what happened. Now my question is, did whoever took over her channel take it over intentionally to put something bad to get her kicked off? That's kind of diabolical. So was that their intent? Because apparently they just put up one thing, got her kicked off. So I'm thinking it was someone who did this intentionally, but I don't know, you know. Nora says, Carol, they do understand those workers help them. They understand they don't give a damn. That's true. That's very, very true. Hey, Van Vita, haven't seen you in ages. Good to see you again. But I'm getting ready to head on out. And thank you for being here, everyone. I love each and every one of you. And I keep saying this, but I really am ready to get started back making videos. I feel so rejuvenated, totally rejuvenated. Hey, Possum, hello, hello. So anyone who wants me to shout you out real quick, put a C for content creator because I'm getting ready to head out. If it's your first time in the house, put a number 1. I think I did acknowledge a few people who was the first time in the house, but if it's your first time, put a number 1 so I can acknowledge you again and we can give you our good old Globy welcome. All right, Possum Stops. Hello, content creator. Go over and check out Possum Stops. Van Vita, content creator. Go out and check out Van Vita's channel. All right, you guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I'm going to head out. Anyone else want to shout out? Anyone who is put a C or first time, do go over and check them out and show them some love. And I'm going to make like a shepherd and get the flock out of here. All right, guys. Love you. May your journeys be filled with joy and blessings. And I will see you next time. And if you're in a community that has a lot of seniors, see about getting some seniors together to start writing to your Congress people to let them know that if they do not do what they need to do, they're going to be out of there. And if they don't look after seniors and our Social Security, they're going to be out of there. All right. All right. Have a great day. I will see you guys next week, if not sooner. And let me sign out of here.